Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This week, I'm setting up my monthly pages for November. But before we get to that, let's see how October is going. If you saw my October plan with me, you'd know that I was going through some art block while making it. Because of that, I went with a more minimal theme, mainly focusing on the colors to decorate the spreads. I also reduced the number of spreads that I did. But for November, my creativity returned full force. As you'll see, I completely threw out the minimal theme and went a little overboard with the decorations. With that, let's get started. So the theme I chose for November is a desert theme. Actually, I originally chose to do a camping theme for November and was really looking forward to it. As you can see here, I had already started sketching it out, but I didn't love it as much as my other themes. I chalked it up to still being uninspired and I tried to push through. I got through my cover page and calendar when I saw a flip through video from fellow creator Rylee Autumn. If you don't know who she is, Rylee is another bullet journal creator here on YouTube. Along with posting Plan With Me videos in her own bullet journal, she also posts flip-throughs of custom bullet journals that she sells on Etsy. Because I'm a huge fan of hers, I clicked on the video and watched it as soon as it came out, and I fell in love with this theme that she did in the journal. So much so that I changed my mind and erased my spreads to recreate it. As you'll see later, I also took inspiration from the calendar that she did. I'm glad that I saw her video, because now I have a theme that I love. Her channel and the specific video I'm referencing are linked below. Make sure to check them out. I had so much fun picking the colors for this theme. I've been really into muted colors for the past couple of months, so this theme was right up my alley. I chose to go with these desert mountains as my main source of inspiration. I've always loved landscape painting, so it's crazy to me that I've never thought of putting it into my journal. These flat-top mountains are actually called mesas, and not all of them are this deep orange color. I just chose that as my main color because of how visually striking they are. With this setup, I'm aiming for a little bit of realism but still doodly, if that makes sense. But that's the cover page. Let's move on to the quote page. I'm starting by adding 2 mesas at the bottom of the page. Using washi tape, I make sure my edges are nice and crisp. The quote I chose this month isn't really a quote, it's more so a poem. It reads, "You'll find my heart in the deepest of oceans, the highest of mountains, the tallest of trees. I'm in love with the sun, each star in the sky, this beautiful world, and the journey of life." Once I read this poem, I knew I needed it in my journal. Before we move on to the calendar, let's just appreciate this satisfying peel. To finish off the page, I added a thin border with my Pigment Micron. I actually forgot to do the outline for the cover page, but I liked it so much that I thought I'd leave it as is. What do you think? But that's all for the cover page. Let's move on to the calendar. As the semester comes to an end, I'm expecting to be busy. I'm also starting a new job, so that just adds to my schedule. I like to have a place to hold all of my events, so hopefully I won't forget anything with my month all laid out like this. At the top, I did a more minimal design with the hills of sand and cacti on top. I'm using a box layout for my calendar this month to maximize my space. I went for a sort of ombre look to the headers for the days, and I love how it turned out. And with those final touches, I'm done with the calendar. Next, I have all my trackers. Last month, I only used a habit, mood, and water tracker, but I found myself missing the tracker page. Because of that, I decided to add in a few new trackers. This month, I'm using a habit tracker, mood tracker, water tracker, exercise tracker, and a sleep tracker. I know that seems like a lot, but I'm hoping to find patterns in these factors and how they affect my habits. The habits I'm tracking are self-care, when I eat fruit, veggies, and bread, when I exercise, read, journal, study, and wake up at 7 a.m. I notice I'm not really using my journal as much as I want to, and I think it's because my routine has changed. Like most people, I'm a creature of habit. I do the same things the same way every day. So implementing a journaling routine is the only way I'll be able to use it to its full capacity. My routine will be using it to plan in the morning and check off my tasks and trackers in the evening. Another new thing I'm tracking is when I wake up at or before 7. I really want to become a morning person, and this is just the first step. My goal is to eventually wake up at 6 and have a whole morning routine, but I know I need to start small. My other trackers are pretty straightforward. I have a bar graph to track how long I exercise, my water, and when I sleep. As for my mood, I'll use a dot to indicate my mood for the day, then connect it at the end of the month. Now that I've finished the practical parts of the spread, it's time to decorate. I'm starting by sketching in my design. Usually I'll do this off camera since I'm a little indecisive, but I wanted the piece to look like it flowed from one page to the next, and I couldn't do that with the middle page in the way. For this spread, I'm mainly focusing on the landscape, not adding in any cacti like earlier spreads. I wasn't sure which medium I wanted to use for this piece, but I knew I wanted it to look a little more realistic. I chose to do watercolor to get that effect. Usually I would do this on separate paper, then stick it into my journal, but I ran out of watercolor paper. Besides, the thick pages of the Archer and Olive journal can handle the water pretty well. I laid down my border with washi tape, then I started painting. After finishing the painting, I let it fully dry overnight with a few books placed on top of it to help the pages lay flat. And with that, the tracker's pages are finished. Next is my content planner. Like the other spreads so far, I went a bit extra with it. Underneath the title, I have a mini calendar. I'm using this to schedule and track the days I script, film, edit, and do voiceovers. I'll assign a color to each task, schedule it by circling a date in that color, then fill in the circle when I completed the task. Under that, I have my content scheduler. I have all the Sundays of the month listed for my YouTube uploads. There's a space to write the title of the video and a progress bar next to it. There's space to track when I script, prep, film, do the voiceover, edit, make the thumbnail, and post the video. Under that is space to track my uploads on TikTok. I've been slacking a bit over there and want to pick it back up. Under that is my Instagram tracker. Instead of a progress bar, I have the days that I want to post to Instagram. I'm leaving the page to the right empty for now. Let's move on to the last spreads of today. And coincidentally, these are the two most minimal spreads in the setup. On the left page, I have a brain dump. I just add a simple header and leave it blank. To the right is a journaling spread. I have space for each of the weeks in November and I'll write whatever I like in them. In the middle is the final illustration for today.
I'll never catch him while I'm this small. Why, curious butterflies.
You mean bread and butterflies?
Oh, yes, of course. Hmm?
And with that, it's time for the flip through. I hope you enjoyed today's video and theme. If you did, let me know by leaving a comment. What was your favorite spread? Mine was most definitely the tracker spread. If you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe with notifications on. that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed and have a great start to your week. See you guys next week. Bye!